Hi, I developed Bench Coach because I coach all three of my kids' basketball and soccer teams. I love coaching my kids and their friends, but I sure do hate substitutions. So what I did is I developed Bench Coach so that my iPhone could do my substitutions for me. How does Bench Coach work? It's very simple. The first thing you need to do is set up a season. In order to set up the season, you hit the season button, you click new, you name the season so that you understand what you're trying to do. I'm going to name this season U8 for my 8-year-old's soccer team. I want the season to be active, and I need to choose the sport of soccer by selecting it on the spinner. The game defaults, my 8-year-old soccer league uses 4 10-minute periods, and I only want to substitute at the beginning of each period. So each player will play for 10 minutes. If I hit 2 there, I'll be reminded to substitute in the middle of the period. Very simple, so I'm going to move this back to 1 because I only substitute at the beginning of each period. Then I need to set up the default field. My 8-year-old uses 1 goalie, 2 defenders, and 3 offensive players. So as you can see, I just drag the icon for the offensive player into the offensive spot and have 3 offensive and 3 defensive players. This is my default field setting. Now I'm ready to go, so I save the season. I then go to the home button, hit pick season, and I want to do U8, so I select the U8 season. The next thing I need to do is create a roster. All you have to do is hit the plus sign. You can add a new photo of the player you're adding or choose an existing photo. So if you were to click on this, and let's say this young man right here wanted to be on my soccer team, I could hit choose, and now his picture's in there. I can name that player. I can also rate that player so that I know how good he is. Also, that's what the OneTouch sub feature uses to make sure that your field is set up the way that you like. And you can add in a phone number and email address. I'm going to cancel that though, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to import a roster from another season. I'm going to select this U10 season, and as you can see, it fills in an entire roster for me. Then I can go in, and if a player has gotten better over the years, it's very simple for me to change their rating. So now I have a roster, I have a season. The next thing to do is get ready for a game. As you can see, there's no games coming up. Let's add a game or two. I'm going to say this first game is against the Bulls. It's at our home field, and as you can see, the rest of the defaults are set up, so I'm going to hit save. I'm going to add a second game. Let's say this game is next week on the 30th. That game is against the Sharks. I'm going to save that game now. I have 2 games coming up, and I'm ready to really use Bench Coach now. So let's say I get to a game and I'm ready to roll. I hit games. Today's the 23rd game. You can see it's the Bulls at our home field, and I can set which team formation I'd like to put on the field. Our default setting, as you know, is with 3 offensive and 3 defensive players. But let's say that the team we're playing is really good and I need to make sure that they don't score. I can set up a different field formation of 2 offensive players, 3 defensive players, and a goalie. For some added defensive muster, I'm going to hit on the field name, and I'm going to name this my 3-2 for 3 defensive players and 2 offensive players. So I can select that, or I can select my default field selection. Let's select the 3-2. Again, this is a good team we're playing, so I want to make sure my best players are on defense. So I'm going to use the slider to slide my best players to defense. And unfortunately, Jim and Eva couldn't make it to today's game. So everyone else is here. We're ready to go. You hit the begin game button, and you get the in-game dashboard view. The in-game dashboard view allows you to keep score. It also allows you to keep time if you'd like to do that. If you have the app set up to give you reminders after 5 minutes, you'll hear a little buzz and a whistle. That'll remind you that you need to do your substitutions. If you don't like the lineup on the field, it's easy. Bench Coach allows you to adjust that. You just hit the emergency substitution buttons. You get the usual wiggle, and all you have to do is drag a new player onto that spot. It's really simple to do substitutions. If you'd like to see what the next period subs look like, you hit the next button, and as you can see, all the players have been moved around. Everyone gets equal playing time, just so it's easy for you to coach the kids and not worry about the subs. That's the next period, and you could go through and look at each subsequent period if you want. If you'd like a list view, you can hit the menu button and look at your substitution list. Don't forget, we're playing a tough team. We wanted our best players on defense. As you can see, OneTouch sub feature uses the ratings that we've given it to put our best team on the field at all times while keeping our best players in the defensive positions. Hit done. One great feature of Bench Coach is if you have a lot of people on the field at one time, you can use the landscape feature to look at a larger version of the field, and you can still, of course, do substitutions if you like. So let's go back to the in-game dashboard view. All we have to do when we're ready to finish the game is hit menu, and we can mark this game as complete. We've won 2-1. If we go back to the game manager, we can now see that today's game is completed and the upcoming game is ready to go. One great feature of Bench Coach is the team communication feature. Let's say I want to remind my team that the next game is coming up. I can hit the email team button, email them the game reminder for our next available game. I'll select that game, and as you can see, we have a predefined email template that comes up that lets me send that to all of my players. Let's say I want to congratulate or tell Eva I missed her during the game. I could easily click on Eva's email address, and as you can see, everything is set up so that I can just let Eva know that I missed her because she was sick at the last game. It also shows which games that she's played. So that's Bench Coach. Coach the kids, not the bench. If you have any other things that you need to see, make sure you go to benchcoachapp.com.